Kia ora everybody, thanks for joining me for the reading, collective reading for the global community, for everyone out there on this full moon in Capricorn on the 13th. It's the 11th here today in Aotearoa, and we're sitting by the fire and because it's freezing, and we're going to do this collective reading. So general energies, it's pretty difficult not to be aware of what is sort of recent events going on from every corner of the globe, really. And remember, these are very intuitive tarot readings, general readings, especially this one for the collective, because we're just picking up on the waves of energy that is going on, energies that are going on around the world. So we can't deny the fact this channel wasn't about politics, obviously, but in my mind, you know, you can't just tune out and not be aware of what's going on. We all have a responsibility. We're all part of this world. You don't opt out, which I think in a lot of spiritual dogma would suggest these days. A certain type of spiritual dogma would suggest that you do opt out and switch off the news, raise your vibration. You know, that's fine and dandy. Yeah, we all probably as a species need to raise our vibration. Everyone has different ways of doing that. Not everyone wants to do that. And I guess the thing is you know, there is a pendulum is swinging into quite an extreme angle, leaning into the fascist areas, and we can't allow that. We really can't allow that to scrabble and scribble and fight amongst ourselves, which is generally what happens. When people feel like they're out of control, they look for scapegoats to blame. They look for people that are different from themselves to blame. They look for people with different opinions to blame. So we're here today to just get some good guidance on that and relax by the fire after that. It's not usually that, but there's a lot of things to feel quite strongly about at the current time. But let's look at the general collective at the moment and some little tips for ourselves on a micro level. How can we kind of move through this cracking, shifting, changing period? Because I do feel that it's not just going to... It's not just going to rise and pass. You know, we're here to live through it, so we need stamina. Personal, spiritual stamina. So let's have a look. Wow, must be that fire going in the background. Let's have a look for the collective today. We'll get a few cards. We'll pull a few others. We've got a really nice art oracle deck, which is a lot of fun. My own deck, which is a lot of fun, and got a few cards here. Right, so let's have a look. Let us have a look. Okay, well, yeah, so we come out with the 10 of Wands. Yeah, look, heavy burdens, lightening the load, burning all those 10 wands in a big fire, and kind of starting off with a new level of lightness, you could say. we do this because we've got a level of faith, actually, in the future. Faith is one thing that is like gold. Faith. We've got the 7 of discs here, which is, I've got it upside down. Didn't come out that way. I don't do reversals anyway. Well, I could, but I don't. Not much point often. So, 7 of discs, it is a card of review. It's a card of assessment. All the 7s are. We pick through, we assess, we get our scales out, we weigh things up. This is quite an energetic, you could look at it on an energetic level, that we're looking at what we've put our energy into. What have we put our faith into in the past? Because I think probably on a collective level right now we're questioning, possibly some of us are questioning what we had faith in. What we had faith in 5 years ago or took for granted, we certainly possibly are not, that has shifted since that point. So these are good because we release, we get to the end of a cycle, as I always go on about cycles. Yes, I know, but this is the nature of life. The 10 of Wands is a burden that has been carried for a long time. And it indicates that it's time to shed those wands. Because we've been assessing, because we've been seeing what is valuable, what isn't. Whether this is in a micro or a macro, clearly it is on a macro level, on a global level, on a collective level. Now the good thing here is that then, so we see, right? We see the 9 of Cups, glorious, happy cups. Through this assessment, you know, often traditionally those 9 cups are sitting above the little figure. You know, you could have your mantelpiece and have your 9 cups along there, and you see them, you've got them, you own them. You know what makes you happy. You know those things that make you happy, you know. We don't want to take that for granted. There are times when those 9 cups are somewhat obscured. Or we choose to kind of forget that they're there. Slight tongue-tiedness with these always with the first reading, usually the collective. Slight tongue-tiedness. Something just passed through and left again. As I said, we can take these for granted. Sometimes they're obscured. What was I saying? Sometimes we just choose not to see them with a new lens. Then, 4 of Swords, a good time to be resting, reviewing, a good time for respite, not a good time to fight. I mean, I don't know what it is, but there's a few Martian energies, as in Mars, Martian energies flying around at the moment. But yeah, the 4 of Swords is a wonderful card of rest and respite, allowing that for yourself, because it is only when we are in that place, whatever that place is for you, it could be literally lying down in a quiet place, resting. Maybe you're ill. Maybe you've got flu or something, resting. Because in that space, whether you're consciously aware of it, you might be, or whether you're not, a lot of things come through, a lot of things come to you in the space. Now, speaking of that 4 of Swords, we have 2 cards coming out here. the Four of Discs, and the world, the universe. Yeah, something needs to be let go of, and this is what we're seeing around the world. Things are being let go. And within that, there is discomfort and chaos for a period of time. Anyway, let's go through. We'll just get a little clarification for this Ten of Wands. This, we all know it's something that is a weight that requires exiting, requires, yeah, hello, we get death, letting it go, death, in order to come together and celebrate. Sounds simplistic, but it makes perfect sense, and it's actually quite true. We look at our ego, we look at our intentions, why we do what we do. We look at our shadow, actually, because that's the only way to stop projecting that out onto other people. Seven of Discs. The review card, the energetic review. Could be reviewing. Okay, so the cards aren't really, we know this, all right, we know that. Nine of Cups. And we have the 10. Those Nine of Cups, those things that we might covet in our own little world, we might take them for granted. We might actually just be kind of happy with them as well. But when we come through here from that 9 to this 10, see the 9, to the 10, we see this 10, this again a celebration, because celebration on the other side of any difficulty, right? Always. A resting period, a reconfiguration, a celebration. 10 of Cups, we see it in Malkut on the tree of life. This is the fruit on the branch of that tree. It's in this physical world, it's in the material. We see it around us in the 10 of Cups. It's not just on our mantelpiece, it's not just something that we hold to ourselves, possibly taking for granted sometimes, or on the other side of it, revel in it, because we know on a personal level what makes us happy. This brings this into the world around us, into the wider world around us, if you know what I mean. So let's look, that Four of Swords, where we have rest, and it is just time. We get Temperance, Four of Swords, rest and respite. Clarified, not intentionally, with the Four of Discs, letting something go, and the world, a new cycle, like a whole new cycle, a whole new one. We get Temperance, beautiful Temperance card, alchemical card. A processing is going on, a fermentation is going on. This takes time, and it has its own time. And the way that we help it, that's not the right thing to say really, the way that we deal with that and make it a meaningful process on an internal level, even though we're speaking collectively, it still relates. We see the High Priestess, very intuitive, going in within, very much like the Four of Swords. But here we really get right in there, and this is about trusting our intuitive selves and actually valuing it. because it not only connects us to a higher aspect of ourselves in connection with source, with life force, it connects us with others. And this is what it's all about. We're becoming more sensitized. I know, I repeat myself a lot. We're becoming more sensitized. We are in an energetic age now. It's an evolutionary shift, and it's happening whether you like it or not. So let's get a Brian Froud, Pixie and Fairy. I don't know if we need a Pixie and Fairy. Yeah, we do. This just jumped out. Singer of Intuition. This is about activating what you'd call the mothership, or no, the motherboard. So down here, you know, to the heart, really. It's like the motherboard, isn't it? Singer of Intuition. It's beautiful. Lit up like a fiber optic cables, connecting out there, connecting in here. It's all pretty amazing. We will get now, Art Oracle. It is fun just to lighten it up a bit. It's just so cold here today. It's sort of really in what I like to call bleak house, which is where I am in the South Island of Te Waiponamu in Aotearoa in New Zealand. It's a city that was totally obliterated by earthquakes, sort of, you know, going back 10 years or so. But it was originally built on a swamp. So in the winter, you get this sort of it always reminds me of a Dickens novel, you know. So I always call it like July and August, it's like bleak house because it's rising damp and it's cold. And of course, you still look up to the mountains and they're covered in snow, which is a bit beautiful. There are positive aspects, but it does feel somewhat Dickensian. Now, what do we got? Often with this Art Oracle, we get the same cards coming up a lot. But, right, so we get Gustave Courbet, who was a great painter. Life, work, inspiration, fight the power, paint the powerless. Show what you see, not what you saw. Well, this is all very appropriate to this reading for this full moon in Capricorn. May your art help finance your legal fees, because I did get into a spot of bother, I think. And there we go. And you know what? Just because of his drawings, this card has come up a lot. It's come up a lot. This is the first time I just saw it. Can you believe it? This is the first time that we see. I never noticed that. I thought it was actually a landscape in the background, but in fact it's the glorious nether regions of the great goddess, mother, lover, muse, the great female principle. So I think that's fabulous. On that note, absolutely fabulous. On that note, have a wonderful week. Enjoy this full moon. Get out there and soak up the rays. Take good care. Ka kite.